Hello guys, I am quite new to this entire concept. So my name is Anurag Jain, and I am working as a system engineer in Audience Business Services since 1.5 years. Before that, I was with Accenture as a junior developer. So we will be having a lot of technical sessions by technical experts. How we use that technical knowledge, the technical know-how is of prime importance here. So apart from doing the daily activities like creating your developments or resolving your incidents, you should also know how to apply that knowledge to your maximum benefit. Okay. So I will walk you through to the ABC of the MVP. So a quick overview of what and how you become an MVP. So every year ServiceNow starts or conducts a program called an MVP program. So a bunch of lucky members of community will get to be a part of this program. The validity of this award is a year. Okay. And so the eligibility is anybody who is an active member of community can become an MVP. So it has a common platform. So the caliber is anybody who has a sizable and credible influence on the community will be selected as an MVP. So quantity plus quality is the key here. So the pros of becoming an MVP. So the badge that you see there, ServiceNow Community MVP, that is something that you get when you become an MVP. Okay. So on the community, you will be distinguished as an elite member. You can also use this on your networking sites like LinkedIn, Glassdoor, etc. So you can add a boost to your networking profile. You can be an elite member. There comes the prime advantage of being an MVP. You get a free entry to the entire knowledge conference. So say you save your $1,700, and so you also get an non-hibernating instance. So you don't need to worry about your instance expiring every 10 days. Okay. So it's active throughout the year. Okay. You don't need to worry about logging in and changing your configuration. So apart from these advantages, you also get to connect with your MVP peers. So there are around 15 to 20 people who are selected as MVP based on their influence, and you also have access to the MVP learning events online. So there are times when they conduct training sessions exclusively for the MVPs. So you get to be a part of those sessions. And you are a member of a core committee which will decide a lot of enhancements in the future. Okay. So currently I am working on something called ServiceNow instance and community integration. So your ServiceNow instance will be a community search engine. So anything you search in ServiceNow will be searched on the community, and you will get results from the community. So you don't need to log into community. So I was a beta tester for that particular feature. You will see the plugin in the market in a few days. So how can someone become an MVP? Okay, so this is the principle of any community. You have to help someone to help yourself. So that's what you have to do. You have to answer some queries. You have to be a part of some events. Okay. And community works on a concept called gamification. You get points on whatever you answer. If it is correct, double the points. If it is helpful, 20 points. And you also can post your blogs, articles, etc. So you, as per your technical expertise area, be it service portal or be it ITIL, you can post your answers, post your blogs there. Okay. And yeah, so a lot of people will start answering questions frequently, and they usually burn out after few answers. Okay, so you have to be consistent, and you have to be seen. You have to be be visible to a lot of people on the community. So make sure you have that visibility. Okay, so this basically shows my journey from zero to MVP. Okay, so even as I first logged into community, I had some queries myself. Okay, but I encountered a few questions which were which seemed simple to me that time as per my experience. So I thought, why not let's answer some of the questions. Okay, so I still remember the first correct answer that I had. So any journey begins with a step. Second, I started in my free time. I started developing the solutions or the problems which the community members had. So if someone is stuck in a business rule, I used to implement that business rule in my instance, and yeah, so I used to build some solutions and get those people out of their problems. So you can engage 20 to 30 minutes of your daily routine, and you can help community members. So throughout the community, experience, I have around 100 of correct answers. Yeah, and again, persistence is really important here. You have to be a part of, apart from answering questions, you also have to be part of some of the testing events, feedback events. Recently, I have been a part of some conference calls which ServiceNow conducts. And last year, I was awarded with 2 leader badges on ServiceNow community platform. So from then on, I was awarded an MVP award. That's it. Thank you.
Well, if you have any questions with respect to MVP, you can please ask Anurag now or in the later sessions as well. Any questions?
Apart from contribution to community, just like people do in other service areas, do you or is it needed to have your own separate blog and your site which features
no, not
you?
needed. If you have your own blog, that won't be noticed much. You can post your blog articles on the community itself. They give you an option to post blogs and articles.
Okay.
So once you are visible on platform, they will ask you to be a part of some events, okay, like beta testing.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a new plugin, okay. So they can ask you to test those modules. They can ask you help. They can ask some process knowledge from you. So you have to be a part.
Okay. And is certification parallelly help for MVP?
No.
No. Okay. This is totally a community MVP. It has nothing to do with your,
Yeah, so this will have nothing to do with your career, your profile,
okay,
your certifications. This will be solely on the community.
Okay.
But as a recruiter, I think it definitely adds to your profile.
Yes, it does.
If I have to recruit someone, if I'm interviewing someone, and if I see MVP profile, I definitely give him a preference.
Right.
Because that shows his dedication. Because it's not easy to accomplish all the steps that he has shown in the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is it is it like anyone can go to the community and create a blog, or will this?
Yes, but it has to be relevant. It has to be it has to add value to the community. So somebody from the community will notice that your blog is quite important. It is being noticed. So it adds brownie points to your profile.
So is it like just answering the questions will work?
So 70% of the entire MVP journey will be answering questions. Yes.
And
rest 30% will be blogs, your testing events, calls.
Blogs mean?
So you have
personal
on the community option to post articles.
Okay.
So suppose you can post a blog on IoT. That will help others, and that will like let others know that you have a niche area expertise. So that will help and others also.
So, and you mentioned something about getting into the conference calls with ServiceNow.
Someone from community sent a meeting invite to me. Okay. So they needed some feedback on a plugin. Okay. How good it is for your organization? Is it adding any value? From sales perspective, will I be able to sell it to other organizations, and how? So they asked tips from you.
And recently, the community was moved to the ServiceNow platform itself.
Yes.
What is your experience and feedback?
So I was one of the testers there. Okay. You don't need to go to community every time you have some questions. You have a search option, global search option in ServiceNow instance. You can go there and ask your queries. You will get the responses, just like you get responses when you search incidents and knowledge.
How much time it took you to become all the way from 0 to MD?
Around a year. So around a year ago, I was new to my organization. I had some free time in my hand. But you don't need a lot of free time, just 20 to 30 minutes. But consistency is important.
Thank you.
Do we get any points by participating into the discussions? Because generally we are getting those points,
Yes.
and then we will move in the yes.
So
That
when
is
you
possible.
comment or answer on a discussion, when you are a part of any discussion chain, if someone finds your comments interesting, they will mark it as helpful. So that will add points.
Yeah, even the community leads of India actually will say they are from project management community, so they will just reach out to you for one particular specialty.
They can, yes,
find-
definitely, yes.
Yeah, sometimes we can attain that and we will get some knowledge and then we can pass it.
Yes.
So, no more questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so hi guys, my name is Sourav Dutta. So this is all about AngularJS and Service Portal, and along with that, I have made some IoT things. So I'll connect ServiceNow with basically a lamp right now. So you can say this is a integration between a lamp and a ServiceNow, any kind of tool which provides us any web service calls or something like that. So those kind of platform will be in the topic where we can implement this kind of thing. Let me tell you that this part of presentation might involve some development things and coding. So if you don't like development, maybe this is the good time to start liking it actually. So, okay, let's start. So this is the high level overview. So what we have here is this is the left hand side ServiceNow, and the right hand side this is the IoT device. Okay. So what we want to do basically, we want to configure something. The right hand side, what you can see IoT, and the left hand side ServiceNow. We generally do the ServiceNow coding, but we don't do those kind of things, right? So I will show you how to do those kind of things. In the right hand side, that configuration for microprocessor and the processor for ServiceNow, and also the web service calls and all. So not exactly web service calls. We have gone to the much deeper option, that is a processor. So basically what it does, I'll tell you. Let me just start the video. So you can see, so you can go through this. This is the first point, and you can check the pattern. So first ServiceNow, then it goes to the IoT, and then it checks with the Wi-Fi thing. So basically, any IoT device needs some connection. so that it connects with the outside of internet. So basically we need to have something in there, right? So IoT is all about internet things. So first of all, forget ServiceNow. We need some device that will connect to ServiceNow. So for that we need internet. Where we will get the internet? That is from the Wi-Fi or any hotspots, whatever we have. So this is the request is being sent from the Wi-Fi. The file number is the request. I'll tell you in depth after this. ServiceNow, it checks for the request. What kind of request is this? So basically, we will decide that either to switch on or switch off particular device. So basically, it's 1 or 0 in short. So all of the things what we use in these days, basically 1 and 0, high and low. So this is the 11 number is the lamp. So this is kind of this thing what you can see. Do you remember what is this? Breadboard, right? So maybe college days. These are the LEDs, my circuit, microprocessor, battery, some power. I'll tell you in details after this slide. So right now we need to have a connection between ServiceNow and IoT. How will you do that? So first we need to get the proper endpoint, basically where the service, and this is by the way one directional integration, you can say that the IoT asks for the endpoint and it will show you that means it will return you the value of 1 or 0. So now this is the connection what we are connecting between these two things. Let me first forward. Okay, so now this IoT actually is connected with the internet all the time. It is right here, the 3 number point, that is the Wi-Fi running in while loop. So what it is doing, basically it is continuously checking, going and checking to the endpoint, what is the return value of ServiceNow that he is providing to this IoT device right now. So now since this is connected, so this is running on while loop. So now this is making one request. So the request might be very simplistic. So we tend to make the request pattern so minimal so that it doesn't hamper the microprocessor, because all the coding and whatever you do in this microprocessor, we have a limited space out there. So we don't have much of a space, and also we need to take care of that whatever the coding you are doing, you should handle that coding inside this processor. In ServiceNow we have plenty of options, right? So now it is connected to the processor. I don't know if you have used processor or not, but this is a very interesting thing. Here you can basically any web service and all, they use processor in the backend. So let's say you want to create one endpoint, okay? So you want to hit that particular endpoint and you need to get some return value, okay? So for here, let's say this endpoint is something your development instance or your company instance.servicenow.com / the whatever the endpoint you have provided, something.do, let's say, okay? So if you go right now in your mobile also, if I give you the particular dev ID or the instance name, you can see that some return value is coming out here, okay? So the return value is basically helps to decide the IoT device, either it has to be on or off, okay? So, and you can see the message level in 7 number point, this thing, basically the processor needs some calculations to do, right? To basically show, to tell the IoT device that it should be in what status, right? So this message table is nothing but a space where you save some values, let's say 1 or 0. We are making it very simple. You will not have any problem with understanding this. So now this message table is asking, actually giving the value to the processor. Okay, so now processor have the value. Now processor's job is to just send that particular number to the device, right? So you can see the response. 9 number point. It is coming to the response. We can use either HTML or JSON or any other language, whatever you feel. You can even use text values. Okay, so in here maybe I have used text values, yes. So right now the response is now getting processed in the CPU of the microprocessor. How many of you know C or C++? Raise your hand. Okay, so you might be having some knowledge of microprocessor. If anyone have any idea, microprocessor programming once upon a time, college time? Okay, I see. So now this code has been written there in the memory. CPU process that and sends one digital output, basically, just to make sure that particular pin is on or off. By that on or off thing, we can decide that the lamp has to go on or off. So the 11 number, that is the lamp, right? So right now, this see the 10 number point, that is the actually digital output, and this digital output is actually responsible to start the lamp, basically switch on the lamp. Okay, so that's basically a high level thing. Now let me fast forward for you. This is the basically same thing. I'm just annotating you. So in short, we need to make sure that the IoT device is connected to the internet first. So maybe we can start coding in ServiceNow right away, but in the meantime, you can just collect your setup and start some coding on that part also. So I will start with the ServiceNow side. What you need basically, the technical objects are this service portal. So this is just service portal pages for UI interface. That's all. Nothing complex in this thing. End user wants something jazzy, nice looking user interface, right? So that's why this is here. This is not so much important. You can do it from the backend also. If you just change a value of the message value to some other thing, it will work as it is. But just to give you an user interface, I have used Service Portal. So I have also leveraged Service Portal for this thing. So the processor message and the public pages is something that is used to make the proper what I can say, the processor, the endpoint, what IoT device is asking for, the URL, something that do page, right? So that should be available to everyone, right? Because IoT device doesn't have that authentication schema right now. We can design, but I prefer not to because of the complexity. So because of that, I have used the public pages. That is sys_public or something like that. You can go and check that particular table, and you can just go and give access to a particular UI page or something like that. Okay. And the required skill set, I think already you people have that. Let's just start the video. So this is the pattern. So you have already seen that IoT device asks for something. It's making a request to the ServiceNow side. Now message table is giving on or off thing, and it is returning. You can hear me, right? Okay, fine. So now it is giving you on or off thing. Now processor have the output, but this output has to be written inside. This output should be there in the IoT side. So now IoT device has that output, and this thing is fetching the output, like what I have said. So right now service portal UI, okay, so let's say wave interface, and this wave interface might be having on and off button, okay, like this. So now this is the service portal page what we have designed. I'll show you the coding in a moment, and this is also asking for values, and also when you click that button, off button or on button, so basically it saves some value in the database, and the database table name is the message table. So technically service portal is doing the same thing, the button is doing the same thing what you do in the message table when you go and right click save, right? So the same thing is happening here through coding. So now the same thing, output goes there and our IoT starts to work. So now what's inside this processor, right? So let's go there. So now this is the processor. I have kept it very minimalistic, and let's just zoom in and go to that endpoint. So this is the path which is the endpoint basically. So, and this type is the script. Maybe we can set it to Java also if we want to run some Java applications or Java code. So now this is the message table where we have the values, and it is just getting the status inside that. Now this is the type of response. I have told you that we can have text outputs also and JSON, HTML. So I have used HTML, but inside that whatever the parsing mechanism is there, it's purely index of thing, right? So whatever the thing we check in there, it will be inside one variable, and that variable basically tell you that either it has 0 value or 1 value. So this is the output. So maybe here the output will be T1 equal to 0 or 1, okay? The message table is SysUI message table, on or off value for IoT device. So now let's go to the message table. Now it's simple enough, it is just 1 or 0 value for the IoT device. Now after that we need to go to the UI thing, so service portal UI. So that consists of page, container, row, widget, all those things, okay? So let's go to the page right now. So what's inside the page? So this is the page. You can't see, I guess, but whatever it is, this is the service portal. How many of you have used service portal before? Okay, so you should know that what is page right now. So this is a very common page what we use, and this is very minimalistic. Basically I have not done anything. I have just addressed this particular widget. The widget name is IoT dash whatever it is. So this is the widget where you put your Angular JS codes and all. So now row column. So now this is the widget. You can see. So this is the widget name, and this is the template. So the HTML template is there. So the Angular code is written here. Okay. So this is very minimalistic. I just wanted to give some idea that how this thing works. So this will be the page output when we will go to that particular URL, and this you have seen that I have made this thing public so that you also can see this thing. Public is checked, so that you can also access this from your mobile, and you may want to switch on or off any IoT devices right now. So this is the client side code. This is basically on and off thing. So when we click something in that HTML, so that has some on click, ng click. So that is calling these functions, approve or reject, whatever. So now this thing will set the value in the message table. Our whole purpose is to set the value, just to set the value, that's all. And we want to do that in the server side here. So the function is in client side. We need to pass this function value to the server side. So how can that be done? You can see line number 8 is putil.scope, right? So this thing we have set the values. Now this is going to server side. Now the server side function is basically called because of this. So now we have the new values in this input .op. So now we just want to update particular message record, what we have 0 or 1 value. So after that, this is just simple glide record. So okay, so now this is the final page where you get to
It will be good if we ask if they have any questions before you go to the actual demo.
yeah, sure.
So, any questions right now?
Do you have any questions? Feel free to ask me.
What was the linkage between the service portal page and the processor?
The service portal page and the processor, there is no linkage basically. The service portal page is basically doing the value change in the message record. Okay, processor is being used only for the endpoint. Third party will ask.
Be receiving some value from somewhere, right?
The processor will be having some endpoint URL.
That is of the IoT device.
That is for the IoT device. Even if you want to ask that URL in your mobile browser, that will also resolve. So now, do you have any questions? Yeah.
What is the use of message table apart from?
It is nothing. You can incident table also. You can use incident table short description also to store that value. I just need one particular table, but you can just quote the values.
So it sends 0 and 1 to processor, right?
Yeah.
But it will save multiple values, like the audit of the previous transaction, right?
Yeah, that will save.
Okay.
But you can use any other table also. You can use custom tables also. You can use another database also, whatever. So the purpose of the whole thing is to get the value and send it out. That's all. Or motto. Anything else? Okay. So now this is the device side architecture, and I have kept this part very simple. So required hardware, required software, required skills, blah blah. So let me just play the video. So right now we have two power sources. One is 5 volt adapter and the second one is 220 volt. So this thing, what you can see, this is 220 volt, and this thing basically 9 volt, and I am converting that to 5 volt. You can see the 5 volt power supply, right? So this is the 5 volt conversion. So here the whole the 5 volt conversion is taking place. So in here, so 9 volt is being converted into 5 volt because all the microprocessor and all, especially this one, what I am using. So this requires 5 volt input. So we have relay because this is microprocessor and we don't want to burn my microprocessor with 220 volt, right? So we need some relay. So relay, what it does, it's kind of a physical switch. It takes input from you, I mean the microprocessor obviously, and it has a physical button inside this, so it works in a magnetic way. So basically it press that particular switch for you instead of connecting physically any of the device board things and all. So now here I have used this lamp, 220 volt lamp. So we have input thing. So this microprocessor is sending me the pin output, digital output, 1 or 0 value. So that because of that digital output, that particular green line, this will determine which of the relay will be connected. Means which of the relay will be get triggered on. So that this green one, the line where it ends, that is the one. The left hand side relay. Okay, so that's why I have attached this lamp with the left hand side relay. So okay, now you can see that my whole setup is there. We have an image the same as what I am using right now. You can just have the similar things in here. I am just annotating you whatever the things I have used, what is this and what is the purpose of this thing. So this is the power supply board that is converting 5 into 5 volt, 9 volt to 5 volt, and this is the relay, breadboard, LED, and some wires, temper wires, microprocessor. Inside that you can see the Wi-Fi chip on there, the top one, and that's all. So basically what I'll try right now to make it work, we need Wi-Fi. I'm not sure that the hotel's Wi-Fi was not so powerful, so I may need to turn on my hotspot, so this may take some time. Let's see. In the meantime, do you have any questions for me?
Firstly, the microcontroller which you have used is Arduino or something?
This is a kind of Arduino. This is 8266C, ESP8266C. This has the Wi-Fi microchip also inside that.
You could have used Raspberry Pi also.
You can use Raspberry Pi also, but it requires much more money and plus power, and also you need the OS also for that.
Yes.
Yeah, so all of the things you require, and also this is cheap in comparison.
But in that case, you have easier way to implement, because once the OS gets involved, you have much more scalability.
Yeah, obviously, but you'll have to pay price, right?
So what are the other use cases?
Which one?
So apart from these, what are the other use cases?
You can turn on off your maybe water pump. You can turn on or off your AC from this thing. It is just connecting the dots. Means whatever you need, you can make out of it. So there is no particular specific usage, but you get my point. What you can do things, right?
You can make it more scalable. Like
Yeah, exactly. So let's say I have my motor turned on each and every time. My friends forget to turn it off. So maybe I can use this thing so that I go to office also, then I can just turn it off from my cell phone, right? Okay, so we have the Wi-Fi. So I'm just connecting this thing with the power bank. Yeah. So this thing basically what I have done the coding, that when it blinks, it actually tries to connect with the internet. Okay. So now this thing is connected to my phone. Okay. So this thing has Wi-Fi. Anywhere you have Wi-Fi, you can connect this device. And now So now, let me just restart because I think I have lost the connection. It is trying to connect. Now this light should blink like this because it should get the proper JSON values or whatever the text format I have written. So it should blink like this so that it shows me that whatever the response he is getting right now is based on our coding language and whatever the type of scripts what we have used, type of responses we expect. Okay, so let me go to that panel, ServiceNow panel. I think this. So even you people can go to your mobile and just log on to this dashboard thing. First, let me check if it is working or not. So it should light up the LED basically. See, now if I press on, it lights up. And if I press off, it goes away. Okay. So this is basically connected to the cloud. The endpoint is pointing to this instance, the microprocessor, this thing, and slash the path URL what I have showed you in the processor. So you can see this is the processor, this is the IoT endpoint. So you can see this IoT endpoint is the path. Okay, let's try that in the browser only. So if I just put the URL like this, you can see my screen, right? So we are getting response T1 equal to 0, right? So that's the same response he is getting here. So okay, so this is the thing. So even you can try also. Go to this URL. Sorry. Try to turn it off. Let's see if you can turn it off. You can see the. Let me zoom in. Are you able to? Is the page loading? Because I have made that public, so maybe you should have the access to it. So this is the whole concept of this thing. Yeah, someone turned it off. Okay, I see. Yeah, so you can turn it off or on from wherever you want to. So now I'll see what is the message table is doing here. Someone is trying to turn it off. Someone is trying to turn it on. So now the message will do is 1. Now someone made it to 0. So now again maybe someone will make it 1. So now if I reload, it will view the 1 value. Now this thing is going in the while loop. So each and every time you make changes, he is asking what is the last change. So that's all. Do you have any questions for me?
You just said it will run in while loop. So is there a better way to query for the while loop?
We have it way. Maybe you can use Raspberry Pi for that thing. But I don't think, because some way you will have to stay connected in the internet, right? So you will have to use certain amount of data to fetch the value. Because whenever it is not kind of a callback thing what you are expecting, because we don't have that much of complexity in here.
Okay, in that case, where do you see this thing being used with
ServiceNow, basically ServiceNow is an ITSM tool, so infrastructure management system. All the, let's say this hotel is using ServiceNow right now. So to manage all their lights, fan, TV, fridge, everything. Even he has the ability to take the current bill amount. What will he getting? He will be getting in the next month. We have plenty of options. We can do many things from that. Anything else?
Can we make it bidirectional, like you have just only implemented?
Yeah, you can. You just have to put some another wires in the input pin of the microprocessor, and you'll have to get the value of particular input what you have, the LED is on or off, and based on that you'll just give that value to the microprocessor, and then again he will just hit the processor with some parameters inside that. So the URL pattern will be something .do question mark ampersand question mark something value is something, right? You can get the parameters in ServiceNow and you can decide what is the current situation in here. What is the status of that particular right? Anything else?
Can it work only on the Wi-Fi router?
Wi-Fi router? Yeah, right now we have
no internet.
no internet.
Yes.
No.
I mean the role of router is to route the commands, right?
Yeah.
So let's say what I developed is the home automation.
Yeah, that can
the
be.
router just takes
Yeah.
a command and no internet is involved.
Yeah.
When I get into the internet, it's get into the listening architecture which we just
See,
explained.
if you are in the local network,
Yeah.
it will work. That is 192.168.01, something like that. And if you are outside of that network, it won't work because we don't get the response, right? Let's say you are using your router, home Wi-Fi router,
Right.
and you are connected to this thing. I mean, you are connecting this thing
Right.
to your home router, right?
Right.
Now, if it is connected to the home router, if you have the ability to get the data outside of that particular local network, and your router provides you that particular information to be channelized, and means basically this thing needs the data, right? So if you port forward or something like that, maybe that might work.
What we did is we kept the XML within the Raspberry Pi itself.
Yeah.
Right. So if you do 192.168.local IP,
Yeah.
it takes the status from the Pi itself.
Yeah.
However, if you are outside the Wi-Fi, it connects to the cloud and listening architecture comes into play, which
Yeah.
you are just
Right.
fetching the
So
request.
even that framework is also can be done in here also. You can set your own Wi-Fi logo and all the bias page what we get
So
kind of thing.
basically, now is providing the web API interface. This
Yeah.
IoT becomes the outside of
Exactly.
now. Is that correct?
Yeah. No, you can use web API interface in here also, but it will require much more space. Maybe a simple web API will work in here. Because last time I have created the web API with some bootstrap also I have used, and it properly showed me those kind of things in my Chrome browser. Anything?
And any app development is now for all the three forms of mobile?
Which
Mobile
one?
app development.
Mobile app development.
Development, yeah. I mean the IoT with mobile app.
Yeah, you can develop mobile apps also, but for that you can even use Service Portal for mobile apps also. They have certain new functions available right now, Cabrillo or something like that. Did you attend that CreatorCon? No, right? So they have told that they are using those Cabrillo kind of things to scan your barcodes and all. So those kind of functions, objects will not work in your desktop, only will run on mobile. Okay, so those kind of things are also there. That's all. Okay, thank you. Make it turn off and off.
Where's your magician's hat?
Magician.
It's there. Someone is making it on and off again. Oh, yeah.
I'll try that once. Next time.
Next meetup.
Yeah.
Until
Next
meetup.
meetup. Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Okay, thanks, Sourav. That was a good session. Pretty informative, and I'm not sure if everyone followed, but I wish everyone should follow this because this is pretty new stuff and the future of technology, I would say.
As well, and it is also friendly for developers. The same terms at the same time. So, like it is becoming more popular because of those reasons. And if you see in the terms of organization, so it's just not just a ticking solution or something like that. It is providing you more and more custom application, out-of-box applications. So basically, it is changing itself for more and more organization needs and in different areas of organization. It's not for just IT company or not for particular security or HR company or something like that. So it is expanding its areas and more applications, out-of-box applications are going to be provided.
Yeah, I agree with that. As I don't know anything about ServiceNow. Any additions on this?
I mean, any ideas on the costing of it? Why to leave? Let's say there is a Jira is a free tool on IT service management, right?
Sorry, which
Jira
one?
is a paid one. There are free tools as well on the IT service management. Moving to the Now platform at times seems difficult to convince to the customer that you move from existing ServiceNow to the existing platform to the ServiceNow. So any
Yeah, that question, if no one is answering, I'd like to pitch in.
I will try.
Yeah, sure.
So in ServiceNow, basically, we have BMC remedy, so I worked in it. So there will be a specific downtime that is required. So if your customer is asking for changes, you cannot directly immediately make it. Right? So you have to follow a complete cycle where you have to stop and ask your customer to put some time, and you have to buy that. So that time we can save it with ServiceNow, because here what is there, like change management parallelly happens where the user experience goes directly. So you don't have to just do that, and we can bridge that gap. So whatever we have at time of development. The second point is here you have a user experience which is different than what you are getting in BMC Remedy and Jira, as what you said. So other product is it's easy for developers also to code it very easily, so we can do that, and quickly we can adopt the changes, and user will realize it later automatically once they will get that experience. So after that they will come to know about the changes. So we can simultaneously work and give the user experience. So that's the advantage to move to ServiceNow platform. And going towards now, we have other challenges that the people or other cloud platforms are coming up with some AI interfaces or AI APIs, which is now ServiceNow is trying for that, and they are just pushing it forward. So soon we will get some new articles on community where you will go and you will find out there something new, interesting that you will definitely get to read. So please stay some time. It will take us some time to just have that change in order to convince the customer to go for ServiceNow instead of following some other platform which is free, or you need licenses or you need to pay more for it.
Yeah, as an extension to this, I think if you take it to the architecture of ServiceNow or the kind of infrastructure they maintain their applications on, it's huge. Like no one does it. Even a single cable, there is a replacement for that readily available just beside it. If you try to read some articles about their data centers or something. So the availability of this tool is tremendous, more than 9.99%. So you can. That is one of the winning factors for ServiceNow nowadays. So yeah, I'm just adding to the answer. Any other contributions to this question? Okay, I think next question, I think it's a very valid question and a very general question. How much time is learning curve for development in ServiceNow? I should get a lot of answers.
I think there will be multiple answers for this.
Yeah.
That depends on the person.
What's your experience?
It's more. It's not definitely not. It's a logarithmic graph. Where in initial time, you will have more of learning excitement for any technology which you will have, and with the time, that depends on the application which you are. More and more new applications you are going in. It will not be logarithmic graph. It may go to exponential curve also. But yeah, in the initial phase of time, it will be a good curve if you are like interested to learn, really interested to learn, and if you can see the change which you can bring in the industry, the people, how the people are working. For me, that was the reason to select ServiceNow rather than going for other Java development or any other ASP.NET development. So, like, it was just the idea which I was implementing that was changing the way the industry people are working, like HR people are working, changing the working, or you can see the people who are working around you and how they are working, how you can automate the process, and how you can like make the process so that for everybody it will be easier to work, and like the process will be more smoother. So for me, it's like if you are asking me the time to be a good developer, I would say that around to be like for general kind of application, 1 year is more than enough time for any developer to be good.
Any other thoughts?
So this is an observation that once you will be a graduate or something that's a Bachelor of Engineering or Bachelor of Technology qualification if you have, you just come from a computer background or any electronics or telecommunication background, still you have some knowledge about the scripting, so you can start your career into ServiceNow. It just took 30 days of your time just to go systematically towards the process in order to understand. So most of the times you people will work with out-of-box applications what are available in ServiceNow, like incident management, change and problem. So those developments we are giving them as an assignment to some of the freshers so they can start. So it is found that most of the companies they are giving 30 days of program or some head start thing to their employees in order to start their work. So that the more of the time it is found that people are more comfortable because they know JavaScript or Java. So it helps them to understand the scripting very easily. So there are 29 or 30 types of different scripts. I'm not sure about the number, but still we can have that. So they can easily adopt with the syntaxes and they can easily start. The UI is quite user friendly, so they can go ahead and they can code the things and they can see the magic happening automatically in the front end. So that is easily can convince any of the developer, okay, and it can raise their confidence easily compared to the other development environment where you have to understand from the processor level and you have to go ahead with your implementation. So it is quite easy for any of the people, they can just easily can adopt the development changes.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. If you are from a computer background, it's very easy, but even if you are not from computer background, you can still learn JavaScript and get your development shoes on. But I think this also is a drawback. Like if you don't know the internal workings and you are just relying on the layer which is provided by the vendor. For example, in our case, we just write business tools, server-side script, client-side scripts. I think that kind of a comfort which we get, we tend to ignore the internal workings of how exactly the application is hosted, how is this code exactly being consumed in the backend, how is it compiled to actually run on the server. All that part, I think, we still tend to ignore, and that's a drawback, I would say, from a developer's perspective, is purely from the point of view of his or her career.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Because ServiceNow is going to be there in the market for next 5 to 10 years, maybe, or 20 years, but every tool will have its own lifetime, and it is going to be saturated in the market. I think that those were the questions I could filter out from the rest of it. If this is an open forum, like anyone has any questions can raise it. It's a hot discussion right now. People are ready to answer. No questions?
And you just talked about the market is getting saturated with more of ServiceNow implementation, because what you see in the market now currently, that most of the companies are coming up for the implementation, like let's with any industry. Okay, they come up for the implementation, their implementation projects just finish it in 1 year or 1.5 years, max or 6 months. That depends on the needs, the requirements of their organization. So, like my query was like, okay, after that they just train themselves and they manage by themselves. So they don't need any new developers for managing their ITSM tool. They have their own team who just manage any kind of issues, small issues which is coming up from them. So what I was asking that, okay, like how it is, if this is a situation which continues and in coming years. So what is the future for ServiceNow as a complete ITSM tool for further development and for developers, and what are the scopes of that?
That's a very big question. Actually, I won't be able to answer that because I don't think I have that capacity to answer. But I think yours is a very valid point. What next is a very valid question. But I think currently they are moving in multiple directions at the same time, like IoT, or they have segregated their ITSM certifications for a reason. Maybe there are 6 other directions into it. So I can't really answer, but I'll welcome anyone who wants to answer.
See, ServiceNow is basically a skill-oriented development. So it's like every person will have different skill. So if you are having only a one particular certification into the whole area, it will not show your expertisement towards the technology. So that is why ServiceNow is taken a step that they are going for a skill-based kind of thing, so that it will help person to grow in the organization, not only from the technical side but also from the functional side of it. That is why they have introduced those areas. This is my understanding what I have by reading their website. So it's just about the certifications. The second point you asked about the development and what next. Suppose if the person is coming and getting entered into ServiceNow, and what next. So I also was worked into another background, come here, joined as a junior, started as a junior developer, and then we started. So it's not about that, understanding that if you know any development, how it works, you can definitely fit yourself into ServiceNow for next 5-6 years until this product will be in the moving stage, and then you can switch back to another technology, because now you are getting a functional knowledge here and also the technical knowledge that you can take it ahead forward. So no problem about it. Correct. I completely agree.
A very good answer for that. Any more questions?
Which level of organizations would be fit for ServiceNow? It could be a small startup, or it has to be at least 200 plus organization, or it has to be really a big sizable because of the licensing cost or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So did everyone get that question? The question is, what sized organization should be using ServiceNow? Would justify the usage of ServiceNow? Small, medium, large.
Yes, so from restaurants you can start. So a restaurant will have, let's say, an employee of 200 members, starting from 100. So they still can go for that, but it all depends that are you ready to pay for that. So we have introduced something called multi-tenant instances where a person can share. So basically what you have to do is you have to pay for licenses. Everything you will get it something that is additional. So you can demand for that. Some organizations definitely are providing those kind of services in the multi-tenant environment, but when you are going for a single instance and your environment is dedicated, that time definitely you have to pay more. So you should have that infrastructure available with you, then only then you should shift for high kind of implementation where you will have to pay more to your developers, right? So that will be there. And for normal multi-tenant, definitely you will get like one developer and he can manage the whole environment for you. So again you have to pay like, let's say for first 50 the charges will be taken or something. For additional licenses, there will be additional cost that you have to pay. So it will be yearly, monthly, and different way that people are actually paying to the organizations. So whoever is a service provider, you should go and contact that. They will give you more information.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even I don't know for Indian market, but I think in general the mentality of smaller organizations is ServiceNow is an enterprise level tool. How can will be able to afford it or not? So they are actually not yet aware about, I don't know, I mean, MSP or multi-tenant instances have been in picture since day one. But people are not yet aware. As businesses, if I'm not from IT, from non-IT background, I don't know if I can really afford it or not. But from far away, I can still see it as a very bright side, and maybe in my subconscious I would think it's expensive. Let's go for some out-of-box solution or open source solution for it, because my needs are not that big. But even on the government level, public sector, I think there is a scope, because I don't think it is that challenging for government organizations to buy a ServiceNow instance or pay for a multi-tenant and get their work streamlined. So it is a very yes.
One reason that I see for ServiceNow being adopted by government for some projects which have their information confidential is that they want their information as the data to stay on premise. They don't want it to move to on cloud because they don't themselves have control on the data. There's one thing which probably hinders ServiceNow from being moved.
Yeah, so to that, I'm not saying it's wrong or right, but the thought process that I have for the question you mentioned is, see, even the governments which are outside, they still use it. And I'm pretty sure that even if they go for on-premise solution, it will be affordable for them. Considering, or I don't know, but I'm really not the expert in that industry, but I think even if that is not affordable.
I would like to make here is, I'm not sure how many of you are from multinational companies and how many of you are from startups. But then when you approach customers with ServiceNow and offering, specifically for the customers who are very much worried about the data, the security of the data, the confidentiality of the data, you require to tell them that even though data is on cloud, it's very much secured and not a single person would be able to tell, not even us would be able to tell which country or which server or which location the data is on. It's completely confidential. This is the approach that you would require to take while going to the customers, where if they fear that their data is on stake.
Right, very, very valid point. So it's all about convincing the customer. Okay?
So major bids are lost on this part when public sector offerings are concerned. That the data they wanted to be on premise. When we talk about having it on premise, it adds to the cost for the company having a single instance, not going for multi-tenancy. But then it's based on the concept. Many of you would be doing the consultancy role as well. It's on you to convince the customer that his data is secure and its confidentiality is of same importance as that of yours.
I would like to add on that part. Basically, now when we will go about the versions, now we have just Kingston, and when we will shift from Kingston to another versions, definitely ServiceNow is also planning. You can read out that they are planning like multiple data centers. So currently the data center is with ServiceNow. So you are trying to access through ServiceNow. So government of India, let's say now they are going for Drupal and all. So because they are giving you like something like you have to have a private data center, and they are ready to pay for the infrastructure and all that. So you can definitely go ahead, but you cannot see it now immediately. You have to wait for the next two versions to arrive. So it is being heard that in the L version we will see the data center that will be decentralized everywhere. That's not possible. Even there are some challenges that even high team, they are in their responses, they are not even ready for that. So if you just read some of the articles, they will simply say no to that. Currently it's not available. Even if you talk to their managers, they will simply say no, not possible. And then they will go ahead with that.
Yeah, I think the most difficult bit is convincing and adapting to the new level. Yeah, you go.
That's just an add-on that I just have to give to his words. Because government will not be easily get convinced about that. Though we have some customers like, let's say like GE or something where we actually can. That's possible. It's again like single instance is there where my data will go, how they will use it or something. That questions will be definitely there because finally you are now giving the support for IoT and all those things, right? So if from anywhere you are trying to access the data, definitely they will be very like, they have to just have some secured mechanism of accessing the data out. And nowadays they have introduced some of the IoT devices which allows you to authenticate and then you should go. So some mechanisms you have to make by using the old technology that we have. So now you have just demonstrated something in IoT. Same thing we can use it and do something for authentication. That was missing in the IoT application.
So that's a note for Sourav. Authentication and IoT. Okay, I think we had a good discussion, but before we conclude, if you have more questions, you can always get in touch with any one of us during the networking next 2 hours. We have the dinner ready, and before we conclude, I would like to apologize for the merchandise thing. It wasn't in my hands. The merchandise hasn't arrived, and it will take few more weeks. So I'll make sure that I keep that for the next meetup. About the next meetup, for this meetup, please let me know your feedback either right now or in the email, anywhere. We'll try to incorporate those points in the next meetup. Next meetup, I think it's going to happen post-March, when after Knowledge 80. And hopefully we'll have a lot of content to share. Who all are going for Knowledge? So we can expect presentation from you.
You can ask it like who all have applied for the light. You can handle the research.
I can go to any country.
So hopefully we'll have some good content next time. Today's content was exceptional. MVP stuff and the IoT stuff.
So if I can buy 10 minutes in the time of
Yeah, sure.
I would just like to give a brief about what ServiceNow is really what the intention of building such an amazing tool. So if you know ServiceNow, what kind of tool is it? It's a web application. It's something that would provide you as a way to handle tickets, or what is it? If any one of you have read just IT service management, right? When we talk about IT service management, what comes to your mind? What is it?
Managing IT.
Yeah. Managing IT, managing the services provided by different customers, which are mapped to the IT which your organization is providing. Or for instance, with some other organization is providing, if you are based on system integration and management, if you are found out it, your role is only to provide service support. You are not hosting infra, you are not giving service. So when you talk about ServiceNow, always keep in mind one thing: it's an ITSM tool. Don't try and omit that aspect and customize it the way customer is demanding for. For instance, I'm telling this for the people who are beginning as a startup or who have started ServiceNow implementation for different customers and taking the requirements from them and adopting ServiceNow to their requirements irrespective of what ITIL says or what IT service management says. Okay, all of you at some point of time would have heard about ITIL.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So ITIL is some standard ways, some standard framework which has been put forward to all of you, using which you can build your services, your service offerings. Okay. And ServiceNow has taken everything from ITIL, IT service management, and built a tool based on it. So most of the processes, for instance, incident management, change management, problem management, release, asset, it has been built on ITIL, and there is everything out of box present. Whenever you go as a consultant to a customer, you ensure that you make them aware that this is what the best practice is for conducting some service, for providing some service, for having some workflow developed. This is already available out of box in ServiceNow. See if it suits you. If not, if there is specific requirement of yours to modify it, then go for the customization. Okay, what we tend to do is, if we get some request for customization, we take the call from customer as demand made by them, and we, irrespective of it being a good practice or not, we try and fulfill that demand from them. So try and understand what ITIL is, how the ideally the workflow should go for incident, for problem, for change, for any of the request fulfillment processes. Then explain it to the clients which make the demands for the customization. If they do not agree to it, if they want the customization to be made, then go for it, else you can do it out of box. Okay. So I being an ITIL expert, so if you know the foundation to expert part of it, I've been hired in Orange as IT service management consultant, and the role of me is to check what the processes required by customer are, how can it fit to the out-of-box solution which IT ServiceNow provides, and if customization is required, then see how best can be customized. Okay. Do not make ServiceNow as some web application that you can build in ASP.NET or Java. Okay. Respect ServiceNow as what it has been developed on, and then accept the customization.
So you mean to say companies which want to, achieve a standard of ITIL or maintain the standard of ITIL, those are the ones should be looking
it's not that way.
for.
It's not that way. Say ITIL is something which you can tell to the customer. Like ITIL is framework which has been made for any company to follow, so that the services are like services are delivered in best possible way.
Right.
There should be some checks made, there should be some approvals taken, there should be some time limits or the SLAs that you say, it should be mapped to the services and likewise. So any company or any client of yours can or would want your services to be delivered that way. Only thing is you should be approaching the customer in such a mindset that okay, we have some best practices denoted here which have been already laid out. If you are okay doing this, this is the best that you can do. If they want it to be customized, it's their cost. They are the one who are going to pay.
So customization is recommended?
Customization is recommended in the scenarios where out-of-box processes do not fit the business. But it's on you to let them know. But it is first your responsibility to go through ITIL what it says. What are the out-of-box workflows? How does it suit to best deliver the outputs? If you are very much thorough with it, then it is on your part that you can convince the customer. Not all organizations will have an ITIL consultant in place. Only very few who can afford to do that would have it. But I would recommend for the startups, for the people who are going to start up it based on your experience in ServiceNow to do the consultancy role, to go and implement it, to at least go to the ITIL foundations, so that you are well versed and you are well aware about what ServiceNow is built upon. Any questions or any inputs? Take this as a suggestion, a humble suggestion that you go through ITIL what it is, you know how ServiceNow, each and every module of ServiceNow out of box is made, how it is configured. When you revise the workflow, you go through it, you will understand that what it has been done out of box is the best thing that a customer can adopt. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I think
Yeah, I would like to add something on that.
yeah, sure. You want to
So we have HR processes as well as project management and other things which is not covered under your ITIL model. So still we are actually having that.
That's
So
true.
there also we have to go for application standardized environment, and that demo we have to give it to our customers instead of going for a complete custom application. Because that will be make our life difficult. So it's better to stick to what is already available in the instance as out of box. Not only about ITIL, but also for other also like HR project management. Because they are the tools and I have experience about that, and it's really make your life rule later. So please understand, offer them the first what is available and try to convince them. So it will make your life simple.
Yeah. I think it's time we should proceed for the dinner, but before we close, as I said, please give me some feedback. I will need to communicate the same with the ServiceNow friends. And yeah, for the next meetup, as I said, we'll come up with, please volunteer for sharing your knowledge. Please be the speaker next time if you are not this time. And yeah, so, and also if there are any suggestions with respect to how the next session would go. I mean, considering this is the first session, I think the amount of information and the quality of information was quite good, which was shared. I think on that one, let's just proceed for the winners and networking.
One suggestion for speakers, I mean, as you said, so we have certain out-of-the-box tools which are based on ServiceNow. So I'm sure that being a developer here, so we'll be having certain tools which are developed. I mean, there might be custom tools which we have developed for a customer, right? So in our case, we are having a self-service vendor portal getting developed from one of the ServiceNow developer company in Spain, right? So that is a custom application that we are doing, right? So that's not something which is out of the box, and you cannot find a vendor portal implemented in ServiceNow in a standard way, and you cannot find a YouTube video how it is working and etc. So maybe next time I can explain here as being a speaker how a particular module was implemented or how a particular project was implemented by making use of standard features of ServiceNow, and how I customized it according to my need, which may be helpful for you guys to put up for your customers.
Exactly. Yeah,
right? So if you have something have already done, so maybe next time you can be a speaker. Like I'm sure that if I'm able to complete it within next 3 months or something, then I'll be sharing with you in the next meetup.
And that's the whole point of having these meetups, to share knowledge.
Okay, how you like you have just started with taking all the developers under one roof in Mumbai. So I just wanted to hear that story from your side. That what that idea sparks you and how you bring that on the Meetup.com. And first time I have just seen a ServiceNow at Mumbai developer meet. So something that is catching idea that comes in your mind first, right? And then you started gathering people around you. So I just want to listen that what is exactly the idea, who have motivated you to do that. So we just wanted to understand and have a curiosity.
Yeah, sure. So I think I can answer this in two ways or 2 points. One is pure luck. So what happened was I went to this Meetup event in Pune last year, and then I came to know that they also had a meetup in Pune on the same day. When it was included in the same event. What was surprising was Mumbai did not have any meetup. So I basically applied for meetup to host a meetup for Mumbai region. So that's when they selected me in my application. In fact, I had created a meetup group before that wasn't official, it was created by ServiceNow, and I never started off with any meetup with that group. And what I told ServiceNow was I've already created this group and you can use it, and we already had some 250 members over there, and we can use the same for these official meetings. So what they came up with was they themselves create a new group, they pay everything for that. I just had to post a meetup for ServiceNow developers in Mumbai. So that was one way I got into this. Second reason would be the kind of profile that I am currently. So I work with a company called as TSM, and we take consultancy projects as well as development projects for a lot of clients, and those also involve the clients involved in Indian service industry. So I have in a year minimum I at least touch 3 or 4 clients, and I get a chance to interact with the developers, with their teams. So that way my network was kept on building in last 3 or 4 years. So I think 2 years. So that was the only connect I had. I just got those 2 things together and got it branded from ServiceNow. And that and the job profile.
Believe me guys, it's a process, takes a lot of time. You just go and visit. There will be a complete process that is being given. It's not so easy task for one person to go ahead with that process. I can understand that. Just go ahead and see that. So currently we have in Pune, so people have to travel from Mumbai to Pune for just having one small meetup. And then we are asking our colleagues, have you visited that particular event in Pune? And then we were getting updates. So thank you so much. On behalf of everyone here, I am thanking you. Thank you so much.
I have my friends Mandar and Ajinkya helping me out.
Yeah, I read about it. I don't know who Mandar is, so please introduce them.
So Mandar is the one in Bhushan, and Ajinkya is in. Thank you. So, thank you all for coming, for showing up. There are a lot of people who haven't turned up. I was expecting that. So hopefully next meetup will be a bigger meetup, and maybe we'll have more number of people. So I think